Chapter 2, page 37. Reading: The Exchange of Material Goods. A term that we often use when we talk about business is supply and demand. Supply is the amount of a product or service that is available for people to buy or use. Demand is people's desire or need for a product or service. The term supply and demand means the balance between the amount available and the amount that people want or need. The following are three very different examples of the exchange of goods and how supply and demand functions in different parts of the world. A North Pacific Coast Ceremony. A famous cultural and economic event among native people of the North Pacific Coast, southwestern Canada and the northwestern United States, used to be the potlatch. A few tribes still practice this. In a potlatch ceremony, the hosts gave away huge amounts of valuable items such as blankets, food, boats, and large pieces of copper, a metal. It was very expensive for the hosts. They did not receive any items in return. Instead, they received high status. To people coming from Europe, this ceremony seemed like a strange way to pursue status. It didn't seem practical. Today, there is better understanding of the logic of this event. Several villages participated in a potlatch. If one village had a very good year, they hosted the event and gave away their material items to a village that was not doing well. They received status, and the poor village was no longer as poor. A few years later, the tables might be turned. The situation might be reversed. The poor village, now rich, would host a potlatch, give away their wealth, and acquire high status. The result was harmony and balance. Reindeer herding. For thousands of years, Samis, the last tribal people of Europe, hunted reindeer. Reindeer were central to their economy and their culture. The animals provided meat, bone for jewelry, and skin for boots, hats, and other clothing. It was a traditional way of life. The Samis had everything they needed and didn't have to exchange goods with the outside world. In the 16th century, they domesticated the reindeer, trained them to live with humans. Today, they herd the reindeer from one area to another in northern Scandinavia, Finland, Sweden, and Norway. They sell reindeer meat and buy items such as snowmobiles. However, today the government is trying to regulate, control the reindeer industry, and the Samis aren't happy about this because the price they receive for the meat is now lower than before regulation. Prairie dogs in the international economy. In the 1990s, farmers in the American Midwest had a challenge: prairie dogs. These animals dig deep holes, burrows, where they live and hide. Prairie dogs have always been a problem for farmers because they destroy the farmers' crops. For many years, farmers have tried to kill these animals in different ways, but nothing has worked. In addition, farmers have a problem with animal rights groups who don't want animals to suffer. One man had a strange but successful solution to this problem. He invented a very large vacuum cleaner. It was the size of a truck. He traveled around with this huge machine and vacuumed prairie dogs out of their burrows. The prairie dogs were surprised by this experience, but they weren't hurt. The farmers were happy, and the man with the vacuum truck had a successful business. Farmers paid him for his service, and he made more money when he sold pairs of prairie dogs to people in Tokyo who thought they were cuter pets than dogs or cats.